Hello everyone, Professor Wolf here. In this video, I'm going to be talking with you about the questions on the final exam for world religions at College DuPage in spring 2024. I'm not going to address every question in the exam, but I will address many, if not most of them. I've got a little less than an hour, so I'm going to have to move fairly briskly. Let's get into it. Here it goes. Question number 1. True or false, many Hindus are monotheists? True. Again, there's this common perception in American society that Hindus are polytheists, but many are in fact monotheists and believe that there is one and only one God. Question number 2. Many Hindus are polytheists? True. Many Hindus are polytheists, and some are neither monotheists nor polytheists, but have more complex views. There is no universal answer for Hinduism as to monotheism or polytheism, and there's even more options besides. Hinduism is complex. There's a lot of different views. There's even different views about how many gods there are. Question number 3. What 3 Hindu deities receive the greatest amount of worship? The answer is C, Vishnu, Shiva, and the goddess. There's a perception in our society, American society, that Vishnu, Shiva, and Brahma receive the most worship. There are Hindu traditions that link Vishnu, Shiva, and Brahma. However, in India and other parts of the Hindu world, Brahma, while important, often associated with creation, associated with other important things in Hinduism as well, such as the revelation of certain key religious texts, does not receive much worship. I've seen some Hindu scholars of Hinduism say that perhaps the reason for this is that there are Hindu traditions that Brahma cannot save. Be that as it may, the Hindu deities that receive the most worship are Vishnu, Shiva, and the goddess. Let me comment a little further on this. The goddess. Many goddesses in Hinduism, many different names for many different goddesses in Hinduism. Yet, even many Hindus who believe in many gods believe that ultimately the goddesses are all one. So they may see a distinction between different male gods and the one goddess. There's other views out there as well. Of course, there are many Hindu monotheists that would say these are all different forms or manifestations of the one true God, or that one of these forms is the true form or the truest form, at least that we grasp, and the others are other forms. There's some other views out there as well, but we're going to roll on. Question number 4. What are the standard Sanskrit names of the 4 classes or varnas of Hinduism? You can get that in the Hinduism textbook. 5. Which of the following is a standard English translation of these Sanskrit names into English? Again, you should be able to answer that question on the basis of the textbook. Actually, I'll go ahead here and give you the answer, though, because these terms do get translated differently by different authors. C. First is priest. Second, those are, I almost said the Sanskrit words, so you're gonna work that out from the text. First is priest. Second is warrior, ruler. Third is producer. Fourth is servant. Especially when it comes to the third one, producer, you see a number of different translations. Sometimes merchant, sometimes other things. Many scholars argue producer is probably the best of these translations. The people who are making things, right? Okay. 6. Class and caste, that is Varna and Jati, are 2 names for the same thing in Hinduism. False. We often talk about the caste system in the United States, but actually there are both caste and class, or rather class and caste, with class being more fundamental in many respects, and it seems more ancient. All right. 7. Which of the following statements most accurately summarizes the main focus of early Vedic religion? B. seeking material or spiritual blessings in this world through rituals performed by the Brahmins. What about A? One by meditation. No, through the Vedic rituals, right? The Vedic rituals performed by the Brahmins. Not through the rituals of the Tantras, the rituals of the Vedas performed by the Brahmins. Not through acts of charity, the rituals of the Vedas performed by the Brahmins. Now notice here that the blessings sought are largely this worldly blessings, this worldly, not next worldly blessings. The earliest parts of the Vedas, at least, don't seem to be all that interested in the next life. They're mostly focused on this life, blessings that could be secured in this life through rituals, which is characteristic of a great deal of ancient religion around the world, not just in northern India. All right, question number 8. What is the oldest section of the Vedas? A, the Samhitas, the hymns of the Rig Veda. 9, in what language are the Vedas written? I will leave that for you. 10, what is the relationship between the Upanishads and the Vedas? C, the Upanishads are the last part of the Vedas. 11, the Upanishads are exclusively concerned with liberation from reincarnation, moksha. False. 12, the Upanishads are exclusively concerned with the attainment of worldly blessings. False. Parts of the Upanishads are concerned with this worldly blessings. Parts are concerned with next worldly blessings. This is also true for the Tantras, the Hindu Tantras. Which in my face-to-face class I often don't have time to get to, unfortunately. 13, the Bhagavad Gita is a relatively short part of a much longer work. What is it? I'll leave that to you. 14, who are the main speakers in the Bhagavad Gita? I'll also leave that to you. 15, what are the 3 main paths to liberation or moksha recognized in the Gita? C, action, knowledge, and devotion. And again, for each and every single one of these questions, there's so much that could be said about them. They could really help us to understand the nature of Hinduism, the other religions we're studying, and religion in general. Here, just let me point out how interesting it is that Hinduism doesn't recognize just one path to devotion, but many different paths of devotion. There is a path of knowledge. There is a path of knowledge. There's also a path of action, following your class duty and just conducting yourself in a way befitting of a human in general. But there's also the path of devotion, bhakti, and the Gita actually says that of all these, the path of devotion, those who have faith and turn to God in faith and cast themselves upon the grace of God and ask for salvation without trying to attain it through advanced knowledge or through good deeds, that's actually the best way. Which not to say that it's saying knowledge doesn't matter or action doesn't matter. All right, it's not saying that at all. 16. What are the 2 main epics of Hinduism? I'll leave that to you. 17. What does the term bhakti mean in a Hindu tradition? I just glossed this. It's D, devotion to a god or goddess. And again, many Hindus are monotheists. They believe in one God who's all-knowing, all-wise, all-powerful, all-loving, who's beyond time and space, who doesn't really have a body, and that this God saves them by grace when they turn to that God in faith. All right, that's a view in Hinduism that has roots going back over 2,000 years old, 2,000 years ago. 18, what Dravidian language played an important role in the development of bhakti? Tamil. Tamil is a Dravidian language found in the south. A lot of poetry written in Tamil contributed to this bhakti tradition. 19, which of the following represents a goal of the Hindu Tantras? D, all of the above. 20, Puranas are a major source of information for the genealogies and lives of Hindu gods. True. 21, a major source of information for age and structure of the cosmos. Also true. A, by the way, a lot of the stories of the Hindu gods and gods we know, well, some come from the epics, but many also come from these texts of Puranas. The name means something like old tale, something like that. That's the way it's often translated. Or old story, old account. What are murtis? D. The term is often used for statues, but really it can extend to other items as well, including those referenced in B and C. And again, many Hindus use statues and drawings and so forth in worship, there's often a perception among non-Hindus that Hindus believe that these statues themselves are God. No. That they represent the true form of God. Many Hindus would say no. But the idea is they might help us to appreciate something about God, like God's wisdom, God's love, and by using them in worship, it can help us to bond with God. All right, 23. What is one common meaning of the term darshan? Darshana in Hinduism, B, experiencing the divine through a murti during worship. So there are many Hindus that, and when they're worshiping, let's say, temple, and they approach a murti of a deity to which they have a devotion, there's rituals being conducted that when they gaze on the eye of the statue, this can help induce an experience, a religious experience, a spiritual experience of God. What is another common meaning of the same term? C. This term is also used for major philosophical schools of Hinduism. Darshana really means something like viewing, seeing, right? So it kind of makes sense. It could be used for seeing God, God seeing you, but also for philosophical views. 25. The term puja is used in Hinduism. That is... Do I want to answer this? Yeah, true. Okay, 25 is true. 26, I'll let you work that one out. 27, I'll let you work that one out. 28, you can work out. 29, you can work out. 30, you could work out. 31, you can work out. We're on to Buddhism. 32, you could work out. 33, this might be a little tricky. Nepal. And by the way, I did not put India on here because I thought that would have been confusing. So yeah, it's C, Nepal, right? There was no Nepal versus India versus Pakistan versus Bangladesh versus Sri Lanka back then. There was just a land across the Indus River, but the area where the Buddha was born, the historical Buddha, it's in modern-day Nepal. Okay, 34. Which of the following elements of Hinduism is defined by the Vedas and the Upanishads did the historical Buddha reject? A, the authority of the Vedas and the efficacy of Vedic ritual, that is the rituals of the Vedas. B, the existence of a permanent self-soul that transcends all experience. C, the existence of a creator God. D, all of the above, or E, only A and B. The answer is D, all of the above. And actually on C, it's a little bit complicated. Did he really flat out deny that there was such a being, or did he just refuse to render a judgment on it and remain agnostic on it? He definitely does not support A. He's definitely opposed to A, and it seems B, and certainly does not support the existence of a creator God, remains silent on it, or even denies it. D, write down D. Though again, there's a little bit of a question about what is, was he really agnostic on the creator God or an atheist about it? Okay, 35. I'll leave that one for you to work out. 36, I'll leave that one for you to work out. 37, you should be able to work out. 38, I'll let you work that out. 39, true. 40, false. In my face-to-face class, I talked about this, that often there's this perception that the Bodhisattva makes a vow not to attain nirvana until all other sentient beings have done so, but that's actually not accurate. And actually, many Buddhist teachers and texts say that the Bodhisattva should seek to attain nirvana as quickly as possible so they could start helping people as quickly as possible. So then why is there this perception that the Bodhisattva vows to wait until every other sentient being has vowed to do so? Because many texts of Mahayana Buddhism do teach that it will take more incarnations for the Bodhisattva to achieve the highest level of Buddhahood, and that will require delaying nirvana and taking on extra rebirths, but that doesn't mean delaying it forever or taking your time with it. Could say a lot more about that here, but time's a bit short, so I'll just continue. 41. Okay. There's a picture here, and you're asked whether it depicts a historical Buddha. There may be some difficulties in Blackboard viewing the image, so let me just go here and say, I will send you the image separately, but say that no, the image here is not of the historical Buddha. Not of the historical Buddha. This image has been interpreted in different ways. It's often associated with a Chinese monk who lived about 1,000 years ago named Budai. It's also often associated with Maitreya, who is the subject of question 42. So I'll turn to that in just a moment. But no, it is not a depiction. It's not regarded by Buddhists as a depiction of the historical Buddha. 42. According to Mahayana Buddhism, and there may be many Theravada Buddhists who believe this as well, who is Maitreya a powerful Buddha who lived long before the historical Buddha and inspired the historical Buddha to seek nirvana? No, that's not right, because Maitreya is not yet a Buddha. There are accounts in Buddhism of Buddhas before the Buddha who inspired him and helped him, but not Maitreya. He's not yet a Buddha. B, a powerful Buddha who maintains a Pure Land? Nope, he's not a Buddha. C, an advanced bodhisattva who vowed to postpone nirvana until all hells are emptied? Nope, there is such a bodhisattva. Ksitigarbha is his name in Sanskrit. It's got different names in China and Japan and other parts of the Buddhist world. He is a powerful bodhisattva. This bodhisattva did actually vow to postpone nirvana until the hells are emptied. But my understanding is he didn't vow to postpone nirvana until absolutely all beings have achieved enlightenment. And even if that is how some interpret it, that's not what all bodhisattvas vow. D, an advanced bodhisattva who will become the next Buddha on earth once Buddhism has disappeared from society. Yep, that's it. And again, it can't be E because he's not yet a Buddha. He will be a Buddha. He will be the next Buddha per age for humanity as we experience it, right? It's old Buddhist idea that, Buddhism comes in cycles, it's rediscovered, then taught, then disappears, and then discovered again by a new Buddha. Many Buddhists believe that Maitreya, not yet a Buddha, he's a very advanced bodhisattva. He will become the next Buddha once Buddhism has disappeared, at least for humanity as we understand it, as we experience it. 43. Which of the following is true of Avalokiteshvara? A, widely regarded by Buddhists as a bodhisattva of infinite compassion and mercy. B, one of the most widely, if not most widely, worshipped the bodhisattvas of Mahayana Buddhism. C, according to legend, he was produced from a beam of light that radiated from the forehead of Buddha Amitabha while the latter was in deep meditation. C, takes the form of a female named Guanyin in China. E, it's all of the above. Probably the most popular bodhisattva in Mahayana Buddhism. 44. Which of the following is true of Amitabha? In Sanskrit, his name means boundless light or limitless light. B, one of the most widely worshipped Buddhas in Mahayana Buddhism. C, according to Mahayana Buddhism, he made a vow to save anyone who trusted in him by causing them to be reborn in his Pure Land, where they'd be guaranteed to achieve nirvana. D, often depicted with red skin, and C, all of the above. And by the way, we need to nuance the term worship a little bit. He's not a god. He's a Buddha. Though we get different attitudes towards Buddhists and Buddhism. 45. 45. There are three major versions, it should be an S, three major versions of the Buddhist canon, each of which is written in a separate language. What are these languages? C, Pali, Chinese, Tibetan. I mean, there's been a lot of Buddhist texts written in other languages as well, such as Sanskrit, of course, but the three main canons are in three languages. Pali, which is a North Indian language, not the language the Buddha spoke, a lot of scholars say, but very close to it. Chinese and Tibetan. 46. Which of the following languages, I just kind of answered this. Which of the following languages is most closely related to the language spoken by the historical Buddha? Pali. B. 47, which of the following Buddhist traditions was heavily influenced by Hindu Tantrism? D, Vajrayana, which we often call Tibetan Buddhism, or Himalayan Buddhism, Vajrayana Buddhism. Okay. Heavily influenced by Hindu Tantrism. All right. Also sometimes called Mantrayana, the vehicle of mantras, other terms as well. 48, besides Tibet, what are two countries where Vajrayana Buddhism is strong today? A, Bhutan and Mongolia. Though we do also see some strong strains of it in China and Japan, United States, and other places. 49, the Dalai Lama is an important leader in which of the following Buddhist traditions? D, Vajrayana. Where was he born? Tibet. That's 50. 51, where does he currently reside? I'll leave that to you. You find out. What country does the Buddha currently, or not the Buddha, does the Dalai Lama currently reside in? 52, which of the following countries conquered Tibet in the late 40s, early 1950s? I'll leave that for you. Okay, 53, who's the founder of Sikhism? Where did he live? When did he live? A, Guru Nanak, northwestern India, 1400s to 1500s. A. 54, which of the following accurately describes the position of Sikhism on the divine? D, sorry, not D, my dog just barked. I got a little distracted. C, monotheism. C, monotheism. I actually have encountered some Sikhs who are pretty educated on their faith and defend a kind of monism. A lot of Sikhs, I've seen a lot of Sikhs too push back on it and say, no, monotheism, not monism. Monism can mean quite a few different things. What I mean here by monism is that actually everything in the whole universe, including like, pop bottles and cereal bowls and black holes and everything else, that everything is ultimately identical with one thing, or a wave or a ripple or a wrinkle in one thing, or, well, actually, let's just leave it there, right? That seems to be the kind of monism that some of these Sikh monists have in mind. Now, of course, a good question there would be, well, is that thing like a personal God with like consciousness? And the Sikh monist side might have said, no, it's not. It's more akin to old Hindu conception of Brahman articulated in various of the Upanishads. So in that way, you could even maybe describe it as atheist, actually. But then again, that could really sound misleading, because atheism might seem to involve the rejection of any kind of, serious supernatural being or mystical being, or many Sikhs would say this is a kind of supernatural mystical being. Anyhow, most Sikhs, they would say there's this one God. Definitely not polytheism. Definitely not polytheism. And majority of Sikhs would say one God, and they would view that God often like Jews, Christians, and Muslims, and many Hindus. One God, all knowing, all wise, all loving, all good, all merciful, just, all powerful, creator, saves people by grace. There you go. Does not have a body, like outside of space and time. All right, 55. What are the 5 Ks of the Khalsa Sikhs? I'll let you look that up. 56. For many Sikhs, actually a lot of Sikhs use the term Sikh instead of Sikhism, Sikhi, and Sikh. Not worried about that. 56, for many Sikhs, a turban is an important element of Sikh identity. True? Yep. 57, who is the 10th and last of the line of the Sikh Gurus? I'll leave that to you to look up. 58, what is the name of the most important of the Sikh holy texts? E, the Guru Granth Sahib. Other religious texts as well in that tradition. 59, most Sikhs belong to the Punjabi ethnic group. This is true. Now, I didn't say most Punjabis are Sikhs. I said most Sikhs are Punjabi. It's a different claim. Yeah, it's true. Most Sikhs are Punjabi ethnically. 60, all ethnic Punjabis are Sikhs. Nope. Only ethnic Punjabis can become Sikhs. Nope. I'm actually not sure what the percentage is of Punjabis that are Sikhs, but it's certainly not all. Okay, 62. Roughly how long ago did Confucius live? 2,500 years ago. I could have left that for you to work out. 63. Which of the following text contains records of conversations involving Confucius and his disciples? D. The Analects of Confucius. There's excerpts from this text on Blackboard. 64. According to Taoist tradition, who's the author of the Tao Te Ching? Lao Tzu, which means old master. 65. In which modern country did Taoism originate? China, the same place where Confucius was born. Just to add a little bit onto this, pretty much all scholars believe Confucius was a real person. I've never seen a scholar question the existence of Confucius. We're on very solid ground. Yes, he was a real person. He lived 2,500 years ago. We don't have any of his writings, anything that he wrote. Chinese tradition says he wrote various texts. Scholars tend not to agree with that. A lot of our knowledge for him comes from this text called the Analects of Confucius that was written by his disciples. It records conversations with Confucius and his disciples, and also between disciples and disciples. Confucius doesn't appear in all of the stories. There's debates about how authentic all the stories are and to what extent it captures the thought of the historical Confucius. My sense is a lot of scholars would agree that a lot of it's pretty authentic, and it maybe doesn't give us a complete picture of his thought, but a pretty accurate picture. There's some questions about his thought. The Analects of Confucius can be a bit unclear in places, ambiguous in places, vague in places, but that happens with all texts. But I highly encourage all of you to read the Analects of Confucius. It's a great text. With the Tao Te Ching, Chinese tradition says it was written by one guy or spoken by one guy, Lao Tzu. Scholars do not believe that. Critical scholars do not believe that. We don't believe there was any Lao Tzu. Again, it means old master in Chinese. It could have, that's how we pronounce the characters, in Mandarin at least, that were, that are used to write his name. But yeah, the characters mean old master. It's possible there was a guy who was just called old master. That's certainly possible. The reason that a lot of scholars think he wasn't a real person is not just because the name is old master. There's a lot of other reasons why scholars are skeptical that any such, there was any Lao Tzu, and many scholars believe that we can detect multiple authorships behind the Tao Te Ching, and actually it developed over 100 years. There's different versions of it. We found different versions of it. It's also a wonderful text, a fantastic text. I have excerpts of it on Blackboard. The excerpts I've used are not always the most scholarly translations, but I think often they're good for people who are new to the text because the translation's actually a lot more enjoyable and a lot more comprehensible. It's not always quite as tight as it could be, but if you're interested in the Analects of Confucius or Tao Te Ching, let me know, and I could give you all sorts of further resources on them. And that's true for, Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, any of the traditions we've studied. And I'll just add here, wow, I can't even believe I got this done like under half an hour. I'll put this in an email, but just to let you know, I just gave you the answers to a lot of these questions, but not all of them. So where would you find the answers to the other questions? Well, consult the textbooks, but you could also use a judicious, sorry, dog just started barking again, judicious Google search. I would try to use Encyclopedia Britannica as much as possible. And you can search by the question itself. Sometimes you may need to search by keyword. So if you encounter a question, you do encounter questions on the exam such as, which of the following is not, right? Let me go back to that. So question number 38, which of the following is not a Mahayana Sutra? If you don't know by looking at that, what you're going to need to do is copy those titles, paste them into your browser, and see what pops. Should be clear pretty quickly whether you're looking at a Buddhist text, a Hindu text, or something else. All right, that's all I've got. Again, I wish this could have been a lot longer. I wish I could have gone into more detail about things. But as always, if you ever want to chat about any of this, I am always here. Good luck on the final exam and in the semester in general. Bye.